Aleph brought a ton of firepower to the tool that I was already intimately familiar with. 10X is a category-defining marketing as a service company since our founding in 2017. We've grown north of 80% CAGR over the life of the company. We brought on 2 incredible financial partners and recognized and insight partners, and we've increased our talent pool from a group of 10 originally to about 1,100 today. I'm CFO. I joined in 2021, so I've been here for 4 years now. I've been in this hypergrowth scaling mode for my entire time here, that I've really leaned on the tech side to try to get as much scale as I can with limited resources and capacity. And that's where Aleph has been a total game changer for me. At 2X and in a lot of my past lives as well, I was stuck in Excel purgatory. I think every FP&A individual contributor has lived through that throughout their lives, careers, whatever, like manually downloading exports out of all the different siloed systems, stitching together a master workbook with VLOOKUPs and lookup tables and macros that get increasingly fragile the farther I got away from the initial model build. And then I found myself ultimately spending more time validating the data, and that none of my macros had broke or none of my formulas had broke, rather than actually analyzing the outputs of the data. We're also in a phase of aggressive M&A driven scale. And so every new acquisition we make brings new platforms and unique data structures and challenges. And when thinking about that whole way of doing things that I had just mentioned, each acquisition created an exponential level of complexity as everything needed to be stitched together. We've got multiple Salesforce environments, we've got different ERPs and NetSuite, QuickBooks, and different revenue models. And so finding a tool that allowed me to minimize my pain there was something that I was certainly interested in. There were pieces of things that I was looking for that I found in a lot of other tools. Aleph checked the boxes on probably the most above. I made a choice based on my belief that Aleph would plug into the tools we already use, absorb all of our complexities without a bunch of custom contortions, and ultimately would deliver pretty fast ROI for me, all without having to sit through some long, painful implementation cycle. Trust is greatly improved. And so I've eliminated version control issues. I've significantly reduced the risk of manual errors. There's no more like, oh, I didn't apply the departmental filter properly when I exported the report this time, and go back and rerun it. I've also gotten really high praise from my board for the weekly dashboards that I built in Excel and published out to them. It's also been incredibly helpful at M&A integration, and can get into their QuickBooks environments, their Salesforce environments, and it gives me instant visibility and allows me to create consolidated reports and dashboards and forecasts all within one system. I kind of mentioned this before, but it's shifted a lot of my time from data whack-a-mole to strategic finance outputs. It's freed up a ton of my bandwidth for scenario planning and modeling and business guidance, and it's given me significant leverage from an FP&A perspective without having to bring an FP&A person on. It's probably delayed my need for a dedicated FP&A person by about a year. The implementation process was unlike anything I've ever experienced in my career, and I'm not being hyperbolic in saying that. Our NetSuite implementation was done in 3 months, and from what I understand, that was running at hyperspeed. Our implementer had never done one that fast. We've implemented some other tools that are usually in the 6 weeks to 3 month time frame, and so going from kickoff to fully operational in 2 weeks was unbelievable. The free trial element, I think, was a total game changer because I got to see my NetSuite data, my Salesforce data in the tool. I got to build a dashboard. I built my private equity dashboard in the free trial version before I even kicked off. And so I was able to see in real time and then have that confidence that that the value that I was going to get, again, before even signed on the dotted line.